Hi, welcome to the Fire Mountain Gems and Beads Jewelry Design Studio. I'm Esther, and today I'd like to show you how to do basic peyote stitch. I'm using a number 10 needle, D-size red Nymo, and I'll be using number 8 delicas. To start, you need to put a stop bead on your thread. So you put it on, slide it down to the end, leaving a tail, and go back through it again the same direction that you put it on initially. You pull it taut, and now it will keep your beads from sliding off. A lot of people have trouble doing the basic peyote, and that is because it's hard to get started. I'm using the number 8 delicas, and because they're a larger bead, it makes it where it's easier for you to see, and it makes it easier for me to get it started. So I'm only going to do a 6 bead wide strip. So we'll slide those down to the end, down to the stop bead. Now the secret for me for getting peyote started, if I'm not using any of my little tricks, is to wrap it around my fingers so that the beads are there so I can tell what I'm working with, and to keep them taut so they don't get twisted around. So you put on one bead, skip a bead, and go through the next bead. Stay to the top of your bead so that you're not running through your thread. You don't want to catch it. So then I'll take another bead, skip a bead, and go through the next one. I've alternated the colors intentionally so that it's easy for you to see what bead I'm putting on and what bead I'm going through. So that gives our, pull that taut. So we now have what we, in peyote we count as 3 rows. You count at a diagonal, so we have 1, 2, 3, that's your first 3 rows of peyote. It normally will take at least 3 rows and really 4 or 5 to really get enough firmness on your peyote so that it's easy for you to work with and it will stay even, so that you can tell where you are and what you're doing. Now this works really well, but I have some tips to show you how to do peyote a lot easier, because if this was in 11s and if I was doing something much wider, like about 4 or 5 inches, it would be very difficult to hang on to. So if I put that aside, and I'm going to get a piece of wire out here. Now this is 22 gauge zebra wire that I've put just a wrapped loop on the end, only to keep my beads from sliding off. I have this little gadget here. This is called a wire straightener, and if you slide it through, it helps straighten the wire out. I keep one of those at my desk, and it makes it really nice. Keep your wire basically straight when you start out so that your beads are laying nice and even. So in doing this little trick, however many beads I put on, it's going to be double that amount when we get the first and second row on, because this is just the first row. So because I sometimes in a klutz and everything slides every which way, I'm going to put a bead stopper on so those beads are not going anywhere until I want them to. So I'll take my number 10 needle with the Nymo D-size thread on it, and I'm going to put a stop bead on. So I have this really sweet little lime green number 11 dynamite. Pull it down to the end of the thread and go back through the same direction. Pulls it taut. So now I'm going to take my 4 dynamites on the wire. I'm going to go through the first bead. Then I'm going to put on a bead, go through the next bead on the wire. Then I'm going to put on another bead, go through the next bead on the wire, put on another bead, and go through the next bead on the wire. So now I have the first and second rows of your peyote done. If I lay them there flat, you can see how they go. That one should be over on the other side, which we'll get. One thing about using the wire, you won't get your beads twisted around each other. You can tell which is the first row and which is the second row, which if you're doing a long strip in peyote is really easy to get it mixed up and twisted. So now start going back the other way, and you just put on a bead and go through the bead that is not on the wire, which is your half step up, and you continue on doing that. But I'm going to show you what that looks like because I have a strip here that's done. This particular strip has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows of peyote. And so this is what I call my starter strip, and it's done in the delicate 8s. So I can pull it off of that wire, and now you can take it and you can start your peyote for whatever project you're working on. So you would use it just as a frame. So what I do is take a needle and thread, oops, this is my number 10 needle, and my Nymo. I just go through that first bead, pull it up, then put on a bead and go through, and another bead and go through. And so you're working it just like as if it was a row all on its own. You just start working, and when you're done, you unweave those 2 rows, which we'll show you like here where I have my starter strip, and then I have beads that I've put on. So here's my stop bead. You can pull that bead off. Now all you do is pull these threads apart, and you can separate your starter strip from your project, and you can reuse the starter strip again for your next project. So you never have to start that first few rows of peyote again. You already have them started. So that's my tip for today, and it will save you a lot of time and make working peyote stitch a lot more enjoyable. Have a great day. Thanks.